Welcome to the deep dive. We cut through the clutter to give you really actionable insights. Today, we're unlocking AWS Batch. Think of it as a shortcut, really, for running those huge computing tasks. The ones that used to be, frankly, a nightmare. Our goal. Show you how Bash processes massive data efficiently, yes, but also how it changes the game for things like machine learning or financial modeling.
Exactly. And what's really interesting, I think, is how AWS has managed to abstract away all that complex infrastructure stuff.
Yeah.
The provisioning, the scaling. It lets developers and analysts just focus on their actual work.
That's the core of it, isn't it? It's about making heavy-duty computing accessible. So, AWS Batch. It's a fully managed service for Bash jobs at scale. And the promise is clear. Automation, scalability, integration, flexibility too.
Okay, let's unpack this. What exactly are these Bash jobs we're talking about?
Right. So basically a batch job is a task that runs start to finish, usually without needing someone to interact with it. Think scripts or maybe containerized applications. They process a specific chunk of data and then they're done. Okay, simple enough. But how does Batch manage them?
It starts with job definitions.
Yeah.
That's like the recipe, It specifies the container image, CPU, memory requirements, environment variables, everything the job needs.
The blueprint. Got it.
Yeah, exactly. And then you have different job types, not just single tasks. There are array jobs, which are like perfect for running thousands of parallel tasks. Think genomic analysis, media encoding.
Ah, right. Processing lots of files at once.
Precisely. And then there are multi-node parallel jobs for really distributed computing stuff.
Yeah.
High-performance computing simulations, that kind of thing. Oh, and a really key part, dependencies. You can actually chain jobs together.
Dependencies. So like job B only starts after job A finishes.
Exactly. So job B won't kick off unless job A completes successfully. Super useful for building robust ETL pipelines without needing manual checks.
That sounds incredibly useful, like having a built-in workflow manager. Okay, so that's the what. How does the magic actually happen? What's the workflow?
It's actually pretty straightforward. You define your job, submit it to a job queue. Then AWS Batch kind of takes over. It looks at the queue, prioritizes the jobs.
Based on settings you configure, presumably.
Yes, you can set priorities. Then it provisions the compute resources needed. That could be EC2 instances, or it could be Fargate, which is a serverless option. Once the resources are ready, the job runs. And Batch handles things like retries if a job fails, and it strictly enforces those dependencies we talked about.
Okay, automatic retries. That's big.
It is. And all the while, you can monitor everything through CloudWatch. Logs, metrics, debugging, It's all there.
Right, so you're not flying blind. You know what's happening.
Yeah.
Okay, where do these jobs actually run? You mentioned EC2, Fargate. Tell us about compute environments.
Sure. Compute environments define the actual infrastructure, the where. You got a couple of main types. Managed environments are usually the way to go. AWS handles all the provisioning, scaling up and down based on the job queue. It's mostly automatic.
Less management overhead. Nice.
Definitely. But if you need more control, maybe specific instance types you already have, you can use unmanaged environments. There, you manage your own EC2 instances. And in terms of resource types within those environments, you can use standard on-demand instances, sure, or Fargate for serverless simplicity. But the really interesting one, especially for cost, is spot instances.
Spot. Heard a lot about that. Big savings potential, right?
Huge savings. You could often cut compute costs by like up to 90% compared to on-demand. It really changes the economics of running large-scale batch jobs.
90%? Wow. That's not trivial at all. Okay, so if someone listening is just starting out with AWS Batch, what are the key takeaways, the must-knows?
Well, first, that Fargate versus EC2 decision, I'd say start with Fargate. It's simpler, serverless, great for getting started, or for jobs where you don't want to manage servers at all. Go with EC2 if you need specific hardware, like GPUs, or critically if you want to leverage those spot instance savings for cost optimization.
Makes sense. Simplicity versus cost customization. What else?
Cost management is key. Remember, you pay for the underlying EC2 or Fargate resources Batch uses. So keep an eye on that and really explore spot instances. Also, monitoring. Get comfortable with CloudWatch. It's essential for tracking progress, catching errors, setting alarms. Don't skip that. And for testing, just start small. Containerize a simple script, set up a basic Fargate compute environment, submit a job. You'll get the hang of it quickly.
Good advice. Start simple, understand the cost levers, use the monitoring. It seems like the big benefit here is that AWS Batch just takes away so much of the undifferentiated heavy lifting, right? The scheduling, the scaling, the retries.
Exactly. It streamlines that whole large-scale processing workflow. It automates resource management and scheduling, freeing you up.
Freeing you up to focus on the actual results, the insights, not managing infrastructure.
That's the goal. making these complex, compute-heavy tasks manageable, efficient, letting you focus on the what, not the how.
So this deep dive really highlights how AWS Batch makes processing massive data sets much simpler, much more accessible. It kind of democratizes large-scale computing. Now, here's something to think about. If automating these huge processing tasks frees up your time and budget, what's that one big project, that innovative idea you could finally tackle if you weren't bogged down by the compute infrastructure?